Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly My Dress Up Darling discussion videos. Today we're talking about episode 6, For Real. I once again have the spectacular, the wonderful, star-tacular, almost screwed it up, Stella Luna here.
Hi!
And we are here to talk about the most recent episode. We have thoughts. Before we get into them, though, here's a gold star for you. You got a gold star last week.
Yay!
Here it is. Yay, gold star. Woo!
Gold star!
Okay. But with that said, though, we're going to have to see 150 likes. Like I said, it was going to be easy on you if you could hit the gold star this week. So 150 likes on this week's video, and I will give you a gold star next week. But with that said, we are going to dig into this. Now, before we properly get into it, I want to stress that this was not our favorite episode.
No.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we have decided we're gonna give it a compliment sandwich because we really love this show. Just because we didn't like an episode does not mean that we don't like the show in general. Right? Because, like, obviously we adore this show, right? Stella was super sick with Crayola and still came in anyway to talk about it because that's how much we care about it. Yeah, that's how much we care about it, right? So, like, know that even though we didn't really like this episode like that, there's a lot of stuff in the episode that we did like, right? And there's every chance that a certain character could be done better in the future. But before we get to that, though, let's talk about some of the stuff we liked. Again, we're going to compliment sandwich it. We're going to talk about the good stuff, talk about the things we didn't like, and then end with more good stuff. And I think the best place to start is right at the beginning of the episode with Marin being down bad for Kojo.
Oh, she was so down bad. She was so down bad.
It was cute, right? Because, like, seeing her, like, just sort of, like, looking at him, like, when they're washing the wig, which I was also, like, I didn't even know that you washed wigs.
Yeah,
Like,
you wash wigs, and I love the fact that they just were like, yeah, you have to use fabric softener. And I was like, yeah, that is correct. That is how you wash a wig. They really did, like I said, every week. They surprised me with the amount of research they did because that is how you wash a wig. It's because you're using, like, the wig fibers are synthetic. And so you don't want to use things like shampoo and conditioner on it because those were made for real hair. Whereas, like, synthetic won't absorb anything. So basically you use fabric softener instead. And so, like, if you have a wig that's really tangled or, like, badly knotted, use fabric softener. If you have a wig that is really shiny, like you ordered an Amazon wig and it's like $10 and it's super shiny, throw it in some water and fabric softener for a little bit, rinse it out, let it dry, and bada bing, bada boom, it's gonna be less shiny.
I didn't know
Fabric
that.
softener. Yeah, fabric softener. Who would have guessed? I don't know who came up with it. I have no idea who, like, thought of that. But, you know, it works. It works.
It was cool to see. And again, like, some of my favorite parts about this show is, like, how they tend to, like, zero in on things that, like, cosplayers would know and be like, oh, that's cool, they added that thing in there. Like, because I was like, wait, what, they're washing the wig? And you're like, yeah, of course you wash the wig. And then the fabric softener thing, I was like, what? It's like, I was very confused, but you were like, yeah, no, and there's reasons why, right? And it's like, oh, that's cool, I like that. But so there you go, for people who like watching these because of Stella's cosplay knowledge. There you go. Right, because that's a huge part of the reason why people enjoy these videos is Stella's cosplay knowledge.
I know, I have a plethora. I've been cosplaying for 6 years, I think, 6 or 7.
Let's go.
Now? Yeah, let's go!
Let's
Anyways,
go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's neat, right, to see, like, the little cosplay info. By the way, one day, Risa and Otani.
One day.
But it was cool to see Marin sort of, like, looking at Gojo with, like, that big sort of dumb smile on her face. And she's like, oh no, do I like him? Do I love him? Right? Like, she was like, oh shit, like, she's, like, questioning it. She's like, dude, like, he's just talking to his grandfather, and I'm like, just like,
I'm down bad.
Yeah, like, she admits, like, she's like, all he's doing is talking to his gramps. Why am I feeling like this? Do I like him? Do I love him? Do I love him?
Do I
right?
love him?
Yeah, like, she's like, oh no, right? Like, she connected, like, oh, this is bad, right? Like, she's
I think
down
we've
bad.
all been there. I think we've all been there. I think we've all had a moment where we've liked somebody, and, like, there was just this moment where everything just, like, clicked into place, and you were just like, do I like them? Wait, do I like them?
Yeah,
think
that
we've all
moment of
been
like,
there.
oh no, oh no,
You
right?
know, like the audio of like, oh no, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah. But like it's interesting, right? Because I was like, oh man, she's down really bad. And again, like the episode does pick up with Gojo calling her beautiful, right?
Mhm.
So we already know to some degree Gojo has feelings for Marin. We don't know if it's as intense as Marin is feeling them. But I do like that is there. That is like,
I think he does, and I definitely think he does. I don't think he realizes his feelings though.
yeah.
Like I don't think he's like in full fledged.
Yeah. I was very happy that Marin openly admits to herself, right? Like, oh no,
Yeah.
I like Gojo. So that way there's none of the speculative thoughts on that we have
Does she?
towards Gojo. Yeah, like, does she like him? Or does she just kind of see him as somebody close? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, she is, like, down bad for him, and it would admit it if you asked, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I like that because, again, like, a lot of romance anime would do that whole, like, will they, won't they for the entire first season, and this show's like, no, we're just gonna have Marin admit that she's into him at, like, episode 6, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. Right?
I mean, that's good. Halfway through, I feel like it's a good point to like admit that you like someone
Yeah, to have a character.
in a show. Yeah.
Yeah, to have a character. Well, it's the same thing with Sasaki Miyano, right? Like,
Yeah.
Sasaki knew his feelings, like, very early on. It took Miyano a while to feel the same. The only difference is... Actually, no, it's the similarity is that both sets of ships do not understand that the other feels likely the same way. Because I don't
I mean,
think Marin assumes that Gojo feels the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and at this point, she's probably okay with that because like she just realized how she felt.
Yeah, well, she's like, Gojo, you don't have a girlfriend right now, huh? Like, later on in the
That's
episode.
very-
She's like,
that
oh,
was so
cool.
Cute. That was
Yeah,
so fucking
like her being
cute.
like, oh, that's funny. That's good to know.
I
Yeah.
also enjoy that like she just accepts that she likes him. Like there's no like fighting with herself about it. There's no like you know for like a long period. Not the like do I like him? Not that kind of like fighting like you're like no I don't like him. I don't like he's kind of weird and he's kind of you know like she like fully accepts it, right?
Yeah, she's like,
because
no,
like
he's
early
great.
on in the show we had like you know Gojo was like I can't be seen around you because like you're popular and I'm not. I'm gonna bring down your popularity. Blah 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 blah. All that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And she's just like
What?
fully on you know embracing that she likes him.
Yeah,
And
and it's really cute.
I appreciate that, and I think it's super cute. Super cute.
Another thing
and-
that I found cute, by the way,
Mhm.
Gramps.
Great. Yep. Gramps. Yep.
Gramps
I was
coming
actually
back
just
was
about to
great.
mention Gramps.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Gramps being on board for the ship as well is also great, right? Because Gramps
Yeah,
being
and-
like, this is cute. Like, he doesn't say it outright, but he just kind of like, when he sees like the two of them, he's like mostly relieved because I think he thought Gojo was in the drag.
Yeah, because there's been so many points. Well, like Gramps was in the car with his aunt, and he was like, he had stockings.
He had
That
stockings.
was why I fell. And then she's like, oh, that's normal for high school boys at his age. I'm like, what do you mean it's
I was like,
normal for him
well,
to
because
have stockings?
when he said that, I was like, look, I know that as an ace boy, I didn't have the most normal experience, but like, are you super sure? Like, because I was like, do my friends have something they gotta tell me?
Yeah, because I was like, okay, like it's a preference. Like if you're a dude and you want to wear thigh highs, like totally cool, like awesome.
Oh,
This isn't
100%,
like
yeah.
this isn't a disrespect. But normally, like there is a like guys like Gojo probably wouldn't be buying stockings, especially
yeah.
from a guy,
Well, 'cause-
but especially guys in Japan.
Yeah, like that's why I was just
Right.
like, is that like I think she was just trying to calm him down, right? Because
Yeah,
again, in
yeah.
Japan, it's a very different situation, right? Like if
Yeah.
I feel like most parents in the West, well, I suppose depending on where you are in the West, but like
Yeah,
if their
that's
kid was
true.
like, I want to wear stockings or like I want to wear like a dress, they'd be like, okay, right? Like,
Okay,
all right,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
right? Because it is okay, right? It's like, yeah, okay.
yeah, it's okay.
But
it's okay.
when you're
yeah.
a older Japanese man, you know, like that might
Yeah.
be a little bit of a different situation. You might have a different opinion on that.
yeah.
So him thinking
Well,
that
especially coming from like an older person's point of view. Like
exactly,
Gramps.
yeah, like Gramps, who is definitely older, so likely has some more like traditional value type stuff, right? Which is
Yeah.
not ideal, but like you know, like you gotta
Yeah.
kind of play to him a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, like, Gramps strikes me as the type of dude who, as long as Gojo was happy, I don't think he would have cared. He would have just, it would have just taken Gramps a while to adjust. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, not to mention that Gramps probably realizes the social, like, socially, it would be like that, like, Gojo has been, like, kind of ostracized by other kids because he's been into Hina dolls. Right.
Yeah. So he's like, if this is just gonna push you further away, right? Like, yeah. So I'm sure it was less of like, I don't want my grandson to be quote unquote weird, right? Because there's nothing weird about it. But like, if that's where his thought was at, I don't think so. I think it's more of just him being concerned about Gojo, like, socially.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I loved, like, when he saw, so at first he's like, oh no, my grandson's dressing up in drag, and then he sees Marin come out, and he's like, oh my god, like, what is happening, right? Like, oh my god, did they do things? I thought I knew you. Just like losing his mind. And then like, oh, okay, you guys are just in a cosplay. Oh, okay.
Also,
right? Like it just brought him all the way back.
Well, not to mention too, like, you know, like, we found out that Marin lives on her own too.
Which is,
right?
Which was a big thing. And she's been eating like crap. She eats like I eat.
Oh yeah, know? No, yeah. I looked at that meal and I was like, that is a JoJo meal.
Yeah.
And like, I find it like, it was, I mean, the thing is with Marin, right, is that she lost her mom and her dad is like, you know, away as, you know, business, like every other anime kid. You know, but like the thing is like, you know, Gojo also lost his parents, right? You know, but I couldn't imagine though, like Gojo has, you know, at least Gramps. Like, I don't think Marin has anyone, you know, like any family member who's close.
She likely, like, judging by like the jokey nature that she spoke about her dad with, and that we see like her dad in that little like thought bubble, like just being like, sorry, Marin. Right? Yeah. Like, I assume they have, like, a decent relationship, that they have, like, a good relationship where he felt comfortable enough to leave, like, for work. But that would mean that Marin doesn't have anybody. And so Gramps, seeing that, is like, hey, like, why don't you come here for dinner from now on? Yeah. Which is very Fruits Basket-y, which I appreciate. Right? Where it's like, why don't you just stay here? You know, like this, this isn't good.
Why don't you stay for dinner?
Why don't you stay
forever?
You want to stay forever? Right, and I'm sure Gramps is thinking that, because, like, Gramps probably saw Marin, saw Gojo, and saw how, like, dorky they were together, and was probably like, good, Gojo, her, pick her, right? Just like, you know, Gramps is thinking, like, her, pick her, right? And Marin is also thinking, pick me, pick me, choose
me.
Oh my god.
Love me.
Yeah, but that's definitely, like, what is going on in, I think, Gramps' mind is, well, and also Gramps was just seemingly, like, Gramps just seems like a good dude in general. Like, he just seems like he wants the best for Gojo, even if he doesn't super understand. Because, again, like, he talks about, they talk about the dress, and he's like, I don't super get it, because it's kind of a far cry from what I do. Like, it's not a Hina doll, so I don't fully get it, but it's a bit of a different beast. But you could fix this on the dress and maybe do that. Like, when they're both looking at the dress, you could tell Gramps is trying his best to be a part of it, right?
Yeah,
like
which
he wants
really
to help in some way. And Gramps is really great, and he's a sweet dude. Like, he's, and like, you know, when he sees she who shall not be named, he, because we're still in the positive moment, he like welcomes her in, and like, because he sees like this poor girl, like, who was stuck out in the rain, assumes it's Gojo's friend, and like says like, come on in, like you can like hop in the bath, warm up, and then dry yourself off, and you know, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And like, he's a sweet old dude, and I really like Gramps a lot. I think he's definitely one of the characters who, like, I would like a focus episode on Gramps, just because I think he's great. But yeah, that's I think, like, the first half of the positives.
All right, time to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So I think it's really funny. I want to preference this. This was really funny. So as we were watching this episode, right? You know, we get introduced to the new girl, right? Yeah. She's in the rain and stuff like that. And JoJo's sitting there and going, "Wow, like, how do they, you know, like, that's like the animation and like how like the like how well it's drawn and stuff, right?
Yeah,
and I sat there
because her shirt, like the sleeve, like the half sleeve was white, so the rain caught, like, you know how like when you're wearing a white shirt in the rain, like it sort of like is like stuck to your skin a little bit. You can like see your skin kind of through the sleeve of like the white shirt, right? So I was like, oh, they actually really like nailed that. It looks like really cool, right?
Yeah.
Totally, like Ace Brain, totally not
Ace Brain.
Yeah, Ace Brain. Like I was miles away.
Before I continue, I will say, if you like this character, this is not me attacking. I don't think you're like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you're a fucking weirdo for liking this character.
Yeah, we're not. You know, like I'm not Twitter and TikTok. Like we don't care if you like this character.
This is just personally how I feel about it. I will preference that. This is all personally.
Yeah.
But the moment I saw her, I was like, okay, she's wearing a sailor fuku, so a sailor uniform, right? Which to me signals in my brain she's a middle school student, right? Because
she's not, to be fair.
She's not, to be fair. But like usually and more commonly, the sailor uniform is associated with middle school. Because how many times do you see anime where a character's in high school, they're using like the sailor fuku? Yeah. I think the only time I can really think of for personally is like Sailor Moon, because in Stars they have the sailor fukus, but it's very rare that you see that. So the other thing, right, is when we were watching this scene, I noticed how like she was wearing the sailor fuku. She looks really young. The way it was animated, like, you know, her white shirt was see-through. The way her skirt like cups her butt. I was like, I hope we're not going to go anywhere weird with this character. I didn't say it out loud. I didn't say like, I hope we're not going to go anywhere uncomfy with this character. I didn't say it out loud to JoJo. But then the moment where
Gojo walks up to the bath, like
no, not even then. When Gojo was talking to Gramps, and then he was like, yeah, someone's like, your friend is here, blah blah blah, and he was like sitting there thinking, he's like, well, like I just walked Marin to the bus or to the train station. I don't have any other friends.
Yeah.
That like working, in that moment, I was like, I literally vocally said to JoJo, I have a really bad feeling about this character.
Well, and my response was like, well, it depends on like how she's introduced, right? And then he walks up to the one door, and I'm like, please don't let that be the room I think.
And I said, no, it wasn't necessarily, you didn't say how they're introduced. You were like, how, like, you were preferencing, like, the type of character they were. But I was like, no, I think, like, what the show's going to do to this character.
Yeah.
And not the character itself, like, the personality.
Yeah.
Right? And then we...
Yes, yeah. I'm not even...
opens the door.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I know.
I know. That sucks. Like, because it feels so out of place in the show.
And like, I'm gonna say this too, is that I don't think this moment would have been bad if he like opened the door, saw her there naked, and he shut it again.
Yeah, he just immediately was like, like, and just, because like there's ways that you could do that scene where like Gojo opens it, sees her, and then just like, Sumimasen! Like, just, like, shuts the door, right? Like, oh, shit! Right? Like, because, like, that would, like, and that would have been funnier, right? If he was like, oh, shit! And just, like, slams the door and is like, I am in so much shit, right? Like, because, again, not only that, but we both went, like, no. Like, when they start showing you her personality, which, like, okay. Here's where I have to preference, like, Stella's already preferenced this, now I have to preference this. If you like Juju, or Inui, or whatever you want to call her. That is A-okay, right? Like, I need you to hear me and know that it is perfectly fine. You don't have to get mad at either of us. You don't have to thumbs down the video. We are all good. It is all good. We are all good, baby boo. Everything's fine. You know, like, everybody is daijobu. Everything is fine. Know that this is just my opinion. And believe it or not, what I'm about to say is me being nice. So I cannot stand this archetype. Like, the small tsundere girl who says, like, really nasty things.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I thought that she was, like, well, like, about Marin, like, I can't believe I thought that she was just some annoying bitch.
Yeah.
Or
who's
like
not
telling
serious
Gojo
about
like
cosplay.
who's not serious about cosplay, and then telling Gojo like, you have to make this outfit for me, or I'll tell the cops that you were perving on me.
That was my okay. We're gonna back up a little bit before we get to that part, right? We're gonna build up to that. Okay. So one of my biggest problems I have with this character is like not necessarily that she like looks younger, like in general, right? She looks younger than them, even though she says she's older, right? It's that to me, the way they read her with the middle school looking uniform, right? She's very small and petite, and that's not saying there aren't small and petite girls out there.
Yeah.
But the thing that really bugged me was, besides like later on that specific scene, is that when she slips and falls and her legs are wide open.
Oh no,
They do the flashback to basically her being bare. And the problem I have is that, first of all, like, I'd understand if she was a character who
what I know where you're going, and I super don't know if you
don't
want to talk about this.
I'm just shush. Okay. The problem I have with it, right, is that they talk about her as if, like, you know, she's bare, right? And the problem is that like a lot of young like children are bare because they haven't gone through puberty yet, right? And now if she was a cosplayer where she would have to show like places where that kind of thing would show, I'd understand if she was bare. But she cosplays magical girls mostly, or like very young girls, right? So like that's a little upsetting to me, because like had they like left that completely out, I think things would, I'd still feel like kind of weird about it, but I wouldn't feel like as weird about it, right? And then we go to her asking him to to make her cosplay, and then threatening him with calling the cops and basically saying that he sexually assaulted her.
Yeah, even though she stalked him.
Even though she stalked him, right? And that's like, there's so much layers to this character that make it a yikes for me.
Again,
right? Because like I take like something like sexual assault very seriously, and especially with a dude, like I can imagine like there are probably like there's dudes out there who have been falsely accused, and it's not cool, because like it's just like it's really icky. Like, yes. It's really, really icky the way she handled that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I agree. And the reason why all the things that we are talking about right now, I never bring up, right, in these videos, I normally don't, is because we're talking about an anime, right? Like, and it gets to where I'm like, it gets to a place where like I know people are gonna be like, just talk about the show, and like I get it, right? But you have to keep in mind too, the reason why I didn't like, if I don't make a video on something, you'll know that I really didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that like my criticisms of it, because I have nothing really positive to add to it. Whereas like with Dress Up Darling, I love this show. Like us talking about it means that we still enjoyed the episode. We just didn't like these elements of it.
Well, and I think it's fair, you know, for us as viewers to sit there and go, well, this was something we were not okay with and that we were uncomfy with, and these are our criticisms about the show, right? Because like I think I even preferenced in like this first video, right, where it was like, you know, like it was fan servicey, and like, you know, it was hardcore fan servicey in episode 2, right? But it wasn't as bad because like it felt like it kind of fit in with what was happening.
Whereas not only that, but it also felt like the person who is being like, there's a reason why like I can't stand the argument when people are like, well, you like Free, so what about Free, right? I'm like, okay, here's the thing. When it comes to something like Free, which is my favorite anime, and which has heavy man service, right? Like heavy man service, right? The difference is the Free Boys, it makes sense because in the context of that show, they would have to look like that. Yes. Right? That is how you can't exactly go swimming in your full school uniform. Like, you have to be wearing swim trunks, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, they're the ones choosing to be in that position. Like when they go shopping in episode like 3 or 4, like when they go shopping with Ray to buy like his swim outfit, they're all choosing to be goofy and like do dumb poses and try on different outfits. That's their decision. In episode 2 of My Dress Up Darling, Marin is the one who chooses to be in that position.
Yes.
Right? She chooses to be in that position. She even like jokes around with Gojo about it.
Yeah.
Like she knows what the situation is, right? Like she's like goofing around, she's having fun. So it's a totally different situation. Whereas with this, it's like, to me, this is like, wow, you went like to the opposite end where it was like basic ecchi shit.
Yeah.
Right? Where I was like, that's why I didn't like it. And again, when I say ecchi, basic ecchi shit, that's not a knock. If you like ecchi, that's fine. But like, that's not what this show normally was. Like, there was a bit of a different, do you know what I mean? Like, because that's not a position she chose to be in, and she was not in control of that situation.
And like I said in the beginning, I would have really like been fine with it had it just been Gojo opens the door, sees her naked, and he's like, ah! And then he shuts the door and then like walks away. It was
the fact that the scene went on for so long, and then there was so many like layers to her character that just sort of made me not like her. Like, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't like her. Yeah. Like, and I would say something like, I hope we don't see her that much, but like I assume we're gonna. Right?
Yeah. Because the one thing I will say. Oh, go on.
Well, it was just gonna say, to me, it's hammering home, because I remember like last week, I think we were saying like I can't wait to see the other girls and blah blah blah, like right, and now I'm like, fuck me, I wish this show was just about Gojo and Marin. Like, yeah,
well, and then on top of that, like I don't find the false accusations of sexual assault funny. Right? Like I don't think that's funny. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's not funny. And I think I'd honestly think a lot of dudes would probably agree with that too, right? Is like, it's not funny to joke like that somebody sexually assaulted, like that they're being accused of sexual assault, because it's very real that there are people who do make false claims, right? Just as like sexual assault should just never be a joke, because so many people in general, it happens to, right? And so to me, that really put a very sour taste in my mouth. Because like it's just not funny. It's like it's just not funny to me. The one thing I will say, so like let's move on from the negative now, right? Now like from the not so great to like positive, right? I don't hate characters like her who are kind of grumpy, right? And I think her grumpiness against Marin's is actually pretty funny. But the way we introduced her was not great. But in general, right, because the interactions between Marin and Juju are kind of really funny, because at first she's like, oh, this girl just only wants to cosplay the pretty girls and like doesn't really care for cosplay, right? But then like as Marin starts to talk about cosplay, she's like, oh, she's actually the type of cosplayer that I love. And having their kind of like dynamic of like really fun, bright, like goofy, you know, girl with this kind of like very like grumpy girl is actually a pretty funny dynamic, in my opinion. I think it's pretty funny. I just don't like the way she was introduced, right? This was so funny to me when Marin was explaining about cosplay, right? She's, you know, because Juju goes, well, why don't you cosplay? I think she said Black Lily. Right? Like, why don't you cosplay her, right? The smaller character. And she's like, as much as I like love this character and I respect her and I love everything about her, I just can't do that. And because I'm too tall, I'm too big. Like, I don't fit her, and I feel like I'm disrespecting that character by cosplaying her. I want to respect her, right? But that doesn't, Marin specifically says that if somebody though was not like quite the body type or like the height that this character is, it's still fine. She just set a personal boundary for herself, like standards, right? And I was like, yes, because a lot of cosplayers feel that way. A lot of them, there's a lot of cosplayers that I know who are like very much like, I want to do the best I can at a character. So I will cosplay characters I feel like I really fit and I can do justice. and that's okay as long as they're not putting that standard onto other cosplayers, right? And Juju, in response, was like really excited to hear that because that's the way that she cosplays too, and she was excited to hear that from somebody else, right? So I thought that kind of interaction was super cute.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't like the character, but sure.
I know you don't. I know you don't. I'm trying to give the positives here, okay? Okay, she
That's
had
fair.
some positives at the end.
Sure. Well, that's just it. Like, again, I'm like, if I don't have anything nice to say, I'm not gonna say anything. So I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed because you didn't interrupt me the whole time I was talking.
Yeah.
That's how I know you had nothing good to say.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were trying to give a compliment sandwich here. What are we doing?
When I said compliment sandwich, I didn't mean anything regarding Inui. Inui
Okay.
is the
Alright.
middle of the sandwich.
All right. What's your compliment? Okay, I want to hear it. Let's hear it.
The talk about the shoujo stuff, like where it was
Oh,
a
yeah.
reference to
So many magical girl animes.
it was crazy.
It was so
Princess
fun.
Tutu was
It was
one.
Cardcaptor
Sailor Moon,
Sakura,
Cardcaptor Sakura.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah, because like Black Lily was like a reference to Black Lady, which is a name that has aged so poorly. But that is a thing.
Yeah.
And then like the Princess Tutu references, the fact that they're like, oh, she's like the guy who Black Lily has a crush on is like totally interested in their other childhood friend.
Like another dude.
Yeah, another dude, which is so clearly a Cardcaptor Sakura reference.
Yeah, well, because she, like, literally, Marin she's like, well, okay, they don't outright say it, but, like, you just know. Like, you can just see it. Or,
Which
like,
is-
everybody accepts it, which is exactly Toya and Yuki.
I was gonna say it's 100% Toya and Yuki, which I thought was so funny. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, because again, like when I was Cardcaptors was one of those shows, or Cardcaptor Sakura was one of those shows that I watched growing up, but it was called Cardcaptors in the West.
Cardcaptors,
A mystic adventure.
adventure
Yeah.
card.
And even back then, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, those two are definitely gay. Like, you know what I mean? Like even back then, I was like, oh, that is a thing.
Oh yeah. But
yeah.
the Princess Tutu was like the way that the gem she like was on her and stuff like that. The way she transformed like very much was reminiscent of Princess Tutu.
Which
And then
we are
the
currently
outfit was
watching.
like between what?
Which we are currently watching
Yeah.
on the side.
Which was like between, you know, like Princess Tutu and then Cardcaptor Sakura for the outfit, the being turning into Black Lily, which is like Black Lady.
Yeah.
You know, I just like she was like what, Princess Lily too? So she went from Princess Lily to Black Lily, which is like Princess Tutu to Black Lady.
Yeah.
Wow. It was really fun. I'm a huge magical girl like fan. So it was really fun to like see those like little Easter eggs
It
in
was
there
really-
to try
yeah.
and pick out.
When I liked seeing like the character flow chart as well, like where they were like trying to explain like this character knows this character and blah blah blah, and it actually played out like a full episode of like not a full episode, but it played out like a full scene of this like imaginary show, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is great. Like I'm really into it.
Yeah.
I will say that I thought that Marin was cosplaying or like referencing a different character when she has
Yeah.
like the one outfit with the white hair in the opening.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that looked like Enterprise from Azure Lane.
It looked like to me it looked like what's her face's name from Akame ga Kill.
Oh,
Oh, what's her name?
Esdeath.
As Death. Yeah,
Esdeath, yeah.
that's because it looks like Esdeath to me.
yeah. Well, to me, I thought it was, and like, I feel like anybody who has seen Azure Lane is gonna be like, dude, I thought the same thing, because she looks just like Enterprise. And I'm not like a big Azure Lane fan. I only saw like the first few episodes, but like, I thought that's who it was. But it's actually the character from this, right? Like, who is supposed to be sort of like the big bad of this shoujo series, right? And I thought that was really cool because it also establishes like Marin and she who shall not be named are going to do some sort of duo cosplay at some point, which I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, right? Like, I mean, mind you, she who shall not be named shuts her down, but like, I thought
And then she
that
laughs
scene
about
was
it.
funny. Yeah, like that scene, I did laugh. I thought that was funny. I do think that the character is going to open up a lot of like comedic elements that I'm probably going to find funny.
I think she's
Right?
gonna be gay.
You think she's
Marin.
for Marin? I think I think she might end up like really liking Marin a lot and sort of treating Gojo like a buddy, right? Like, so, like she's gonna like reluctantly become part of this like friend group, I think.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like again, like I'm mostly being like a shit. Like, but like I don't like this archetype. I don't like the short tsundere girl who's like kind of a brat. Like I really can't stand characters like that. I think the only time I ever liked the short quote unquote tsundere girl was like I was gonna say Uzaki-chan because I really like Uzaki-chan, but like that because that show makes me laugh. But I don't really consider Uzaki a tsundere, so I don't know if that counts. So I was
can't think of any tsunderes at the top. I know some male tsunderes that I adore, but female tsunderes I really don't know many that I actually
like. Yeah, like because I'm trying to think of like some that I do, and I can't. I'm sure somebody in the comments will like remind me of someone, right? Like I'm sure they exist. Does Megumin count from Konosuba? Not really. Like she's more of a Chunibyo. Yeah, so like no, not really.
No.
Anyway, yeah, like I'm hopeful that she ends up because I think that her introduction does lead to like a lot of good scenes like between her and Marin of like them cosplaying and her maybe like showing Marin the ropes and like learning even more about cosplay that maybe her and Gojo don't know. So I do think that there's a lot of good elements that the character can go in. I just didn't like her introduction and I'm not really a big fan of this archetype.
Yeah.
So I am kind of reluctant.
I would definitely say, like, I would agree with that. Like, I think her interactions with Marin are pretty good. Like, they're great. Like, they're gonna like if it goes in a good direction, like it's gonna be great, right? Like I said, I kind of like the fun, happy, kind of like jokey character with like the grumpy one. Like you and me sometimes. The amount of times I've heard you be grumpy.
What?
Yeah. But I really was. I didn't like her introduction, and I was kind of just uncomfy throughout most of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like it just wasn't my cup of tea of how I would introduce a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. But her interactions with Marin, I definitely enjoyed a lot.
I think there's potential. There's potential for like a cool character.
Yeah. But next week's episode.
next week's episode's good. Next week's episode is gonna be good. I'm actually
I hope
looking
so.
forward to it.
The title makes it seem like it's gonna be good.
A Gojo Marin date. I'm definitely down for that. I'm hopeful. I'm hoping.
I'm hopeful because like I'm not gonna lie.
The uwu language had you concerned.
Well, no. Like the introduction of Juju just made me go, I want Marin. Like I just want Marin because I didn't like it was very harsh between the two. So like I was just like Marin. This is why Marin is best girl, right?
It just cemented that I'm like, oh, Marin is like Marin is, it's not even a competition. Like, I was like, okay. I think the only competition Marin's going to have this entire year, is next season with the
Shikamori
pink-haired girl. Yeah.
Shikamori, yeah.
I think that's going to be her only competition all year. I'm like dead serious. I'm dead serious. Like,
yeah.
But yeah. Any closing thoughts? Don't be mad at us.
Don't be mad at us. I still love Dress Up Darling.
I adore the show.
Because to me, Marin and Gojo are what make the show. They are the main characters. That is what I care about.
Yeah, and their dynamic has not changed. Like
their dynamic has not changed. So I still love it.
Yeah, me too. It's my second favorite show of the season. My first is Sasaki and Miyano because of course it is. Because of course it is. But yeah, I adore the show two pieces. Like two pieces. So yeah, don't be mad at us. We still love it, and hopefully you aren't upset. Who am I kidding? Somebody's definitely leaving a really nasty comment in the comments. I can feel it in my bones.
Fight all of you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I will.
You'll fight everybody?
Yeah, I'll fight everyone. Did you know I'm a fucking planet? I will literally sit on you.
I'm ending the video.
Hold on. No.
And there you have it, everybody. That is going to wrap it up for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and set notifications to let all of AniTube know that you are here. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and check out our Discord so that you can actually be notified when new videos go up. And of course, you'll also be notified when we're streaming over on the other website that starts with a D. On top of being the best way to get notified for new videos, it's also a good place to discuss with fellow anime fans and stuff like that. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and join us over on the Discord. Link down in the description. Also linked to the description is our Patreon page, and that, along with the join button right beside the sub button, are great ways to help keep this channel afloat. You will find our Patreon page for as little as $1. You can help keep this channel running. And of course, a big thank you I have to give to our masters of masters, the true legends: Asaki VT, Elizabeth Just Elizabeth, JCran23, Jeremy P, Matt87 Eagle, Shadow Creative, Shiorans, Stephen G, Stevie W, Trapmaster, Trevor W, and Tristan G. Thank you all so much for being so freaking cool. I really love and appreciate all of you guys for your tremendous support of this channel. And if you too would like to have your name shouted out at the end of videos, once again, go check out that Patreon link in the description or hit the join button right beside the sub button. Either way helps out a ton. And that's it for me. So until next time, clean your room. Just trust me, a clean room is a clean mind. Maybe do some Tai Chi. You know, drink lots of water and brush your teeth. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.